In this session, we are going to learn about all the legal issues that are required in forming an entrepreneurship. Legal issues are the most important, or I would say, uh, a requirement, the legal requirement for starting or establishing any businesses. So, what we see these days that in today's world, and India is what is happening. It is bustling with entrepreneurial activities. The route from inspiration to the development of profitable business in fraught with both problems and opportunities. Government is doing a lot to promote entrepreneurship culture. So it is booming. The activities are booming with entrepreneurial setups. And we see that as potential entrepreneurs who embark on their on this exciting journey to start their business, to launch their product or their services, there is one very important part which requires a cautious attention, and that is the legal concern. Because legal part is that it serves as the cornerstone of a business, that cornerstone without which you cannot run your business in a proper way with you know uh, uh, rules and regulation, following the rules and regulations laid down by the government of India in order to have a proper strong entrepreneurial culture in the country. Therefore, it becomes imperative to follow the legal rules and regulations, and therefore it is very important that we must learn that what are the legal requirements for establishing any businesses, and further for expanding or scaling up and running any businesses. Actually, these are some of the concerns. For example, keeping your business a unique identity. You need the support of the government. Keeping your business a very nobody takes up your name, nobody copies your product, nobody copies your. Who is going to protect? It is the legal system that is going to protect you. So here this chapter will be helping you to understand the complex legal landscape that is that every entrepreneur must understand and must negotiate before starting their business. So, because we see that entrepreneurship in India is booming, no doubt, and thanks to the innovation, the ambition, the entrepreneurial spirit among the people of the country, and a very dynamic market, and an ever growing market. Yeah, this our overpopulation is becoming a blessing in disguise, because there is an ever growing demand for the products and services. So the market is always constantly growing and is maturing day by day. So there is lots of opportunity for an entrepreneurship, and people are moving into this domain in order to have their own businesses. So for this we need to understand the legal complexities, which are not only necessary but also very important for the in the middle of the in this middle of the, I would say, tsunami of invention, tsunami of entrepreneurial development and establishment. So, from the conception of an idea, as we already discussed in the previous sessions, that an entrepreneurship starts with the idea, with a vision. So, it from the very conception of this idea to the actual establishment of a corporate entity, entrepreneur has to navigate a maze of legal requirements. Mm, there are compliances procedures that are to be met, and there are regulatory intricacies that are to be followed and fulfilled. So let us see that in this chapter how these things have to be followed, and what are the things that must be understood, that is once taken upon as a complex legal issues. So this chapter, it will be making you understand the complex legal issues that entrepreneurs faces, and that entrepreneur must be adopting. It also explains the complexities of business registration, how we have to go for it, intellectual properties, property protection, intellectual property right, what is it, how it has to be followed, and what are the benefits of taking the means adopting it. Then there are contractual agreements, and and many other several other legal factors that form the cornerstone for any successful firm or businesses. So uh, by highlighting legal channels and potential pitfalls, we enable the entrepreneurs to make wise decisions, establishing an atmosphere in which innovation can thrive, uh, while following the legal compliances also at the same time, because uh, illegal, I won't say illegal, but not following the legal compliances, not going with that, it becomes difficult after certain stage to grow or to develop further. So let us come through this, that what we will be learning in this chapter is that uh, first, handling issues with your prior employers, choosing a company name. Any entrepreneur begins with a vision, with an idea, and as you seed an idea, you have to also choose a company's name. That is how you are, because your brand, your trademark, everything will depend upon what name you want to give to the company. And I always suggest that the name should be small, easy to pronounce, and very neutral, neutral and beautiful name should be searched upon to be given to your business. Next is, once you choose the name, then you have to follow other steps or procedures. But at the same time, to get started, you will have to file all the documents with the secretary of that chosen state, or with the, you have to comply with all the legal requirements with the respective offices, and you know of your respective states. Then you have to, once you are you are registering yourself, you are documenting yourself to different offices, you also have to pay all the required fees that are there in the respective list of your states, or the place where you are working, you are going to start your business. After that, you will be working on the capital requirement. Now, for capital requirement, you will have to go for a capital structuring. That is whether you will be investing your own money, you will be taking a loan, or you will be raising the funds through share, equity, debentures, etc., etc. After that, these are some basic things. Business has not started yet. These are some basic initiatives that are taken up. After you work on the capital structure for the business, you then draft the employees agreement. That is, what are the terms and conditions for the employment, and how they have to work, what work they have to do, for how many hours, their pay structures, etc., etc. And then also your legal documents for incentive stock options at the same time. These steps have to be followed, and while following these steps, there are certain legal provisions that have to be complied with. So here, legal help might be required for businesses in some of the areas, which we can say that maybe following areas. like incorporation, at the time of incorporation, at the time of filing for copyright of the business, so that nobody else can copyright. We will discuss them in detail just now. The trademarks, the patents, contracts and agreements, personal needs of the venture team, then real estate and leasing agreement, because you will be needing land, building to establish your factory. So you have to compile the legal provision related to the real estate, or maybe the leasing agreement if you are taking the property on lease or on rent. Then there has to be an employee stock ownership plans, on which you have to work upon that how you are going to provide the stock ownership to your employees, to different categories or layers of employees. These things have to be formally worked out, and all the legal formalities has to be checked out in this domain. Then franchising and licensing, because your business has to be registered, it has to have a permit to be run in that state, in that particular region or area, etc. Then there has to be some formal litigations if they take place. Then how to on what basis to be complied. Then delinquent accounts, liability protection, merger and acquisition, um, employees benefit plans, tax planning and review, government and regulatory reporting, etc. So see, there are so many domains where we need, and each and every domain which we listed just now, legal help is required. We have to have, the legally we have to pursue these matters and make our paperwork comprehensive, to comply with all the provision legal requirement, so that we do not become a defaulter. We do not fall under the defaulter category. So this is the importance, or I should say, of the legalities or legal things in the business, or starting a business. So, what are the first? Let us discuss some of the issues which we must consider before, at the time when we are starting our business. So, because there are multiple of legal issues to think about when it comes to starting a business, because everything from your business name to its structure to its operation, it has a legal implication. Law has to be implemented and followed respectfully in all the stages of establishing a business. And therefore, what follows is a sampling of some of the legal concerns you may want to address with your legal professionals before starting the business. Sampling here means that maybe you can mm, you can just contact some similar businesses and find out from them that what were the legal provisions that had to be accomplished or followed while fulfilling each and every stage of doing a business. Because you start, and maybe you can go to a consultancy service also at the same time. The legal consultancies are there. For example, there are corporate lawyers who are well versed, and they have full knowledge of what legal provisions have to be followed while implementing at the time of starting your business. So they can be a good guide. They can provide you good guidance in adopting those procedures. Uh, and at the same time, yes, you can pick up the similar businesses that are taking place around you. You can meet those entrepreneurs and you can take all the details about that. Then you can also go for some consultancy services, legal services, who will be helping you to give you the details regarding this. So here comes the first thing that we have to take care of. It is the name. Name, deciding the business name is as easy as to understand the importance, as it is important to give a name to a child, newly born child. If the kid if a kid born is not given the name immediately, how do we recognize him as an individual identity? So in order to mark one's individual identity, one has to make sure that the business has been given a proper name. So we have to make sure that business name which we plan to use is not already being used by somebody else, anybody else. We have to just we will have to do the survey and we will have to do the research. Maybe you go to the some specific appropriate state agencies usually it is the office of the Secretary of State, where you just whatever name you have suggested, you just ask them that this is the name that I have, and they will be helping you or guiding you to find out whether the similar name does not exist, because it is a very strict provision that the name is not to be copied. We have to have a bit of difference, either maybe first of all we should try to give an entirely different name. So you go to the office of the Secretary of State and ask them to check on the list. If it is not already there, then you can use that name, and you can also reserve it with the Secretary of the State's office for a period of time, maybe about 120 days. And within 120 days, what you have to do, the other task that has to be accomplished is that you will have to prepare your uh, article of incorporation, article of organization or partnership agreement. See here, it will depend upon that what kind of organization you are. So you just submit, because so that nobody else takes your name, you just submit it with the office of the Secretary of State, and then you can just for keep it it is kept preserved there for 120 days, and after that in the meantime you do other tasks. So then you have to prepare your articles of organizations or partnership now, but before doing that you will have to sorry you will have to decide upon that what business structure you need to establish, you are planning to establish. We have already studied in detail about the business structure or forms of business organization, where we had discussed that there are a variety of variety is available, that is a sole proprietorship, where one single person can start a business as an owner. There are no other people joining his business. He is the single boss who runs and who takes care of all the activities, who coordinate all the activities, from buying the raw material and looking into the factory and getting the products completed, finished, and sold into the market. He sees the whole cycle himself, and he's the master of the business, single sole master of the business, called the sole proprietorship. Then there is partnership. In partnership, we have two or more people who join together to work to run a business in return for certain amount of profits, to earn certain amounts of profits. So here we can have go for partnership. Then there can be a limited partnership, unlimited partnership, depending upon the liability that has been agreed upon, that is unlimited or limited liability. We can go for corporations. Corporations are the big company. We can go for S corporations or maybe limited liability company. Actually, here to decide and pick which company is best for you, you have to consider basically the ownership issue. That is, whether you want to stand alone or you want a group of people. Then maybe you have to the second point that needed to be taken into consideration is the liability issue. That is, whether you want to go for unlimited liability or limited liability. If it is unlimited liability, you can bear the losses from your personal assets. You have to go for sole proprietorship or partnership. If you opt for unlimited liability, limited liability, then you go for corporation or S corporations. So it is on the basis of second point which we said, that liability issue. Third, it is the scale of operation, the how big, that is depending upon small scale, medium scale, or large scale. So you have to decide the business structure on the basis of this. uh, while at the same time you have to conduct, because all your paperwork will depend upon which form of business structure you have developed, or sorry, adopted for yourself, decided for yourself. Once you've decided the business structure, for example, suppose I say that I'll go for partnership maybe. So now the next step is to get the business license for my business. For this, you will have to get your business registered. And here, after registering, we get the business license, which is a kind of permission given to us to start the business. So depending upon the type of business you intend to operate or run, you may be required to get the number of licenses or permissions that are needed. That will again depend upon that what business structure you have selected for yourself. The next paperwork that has to be done is the non-closure disclosure agreement. Actually, non-disclosure agreement, it is also known as confidentiality agreement. Confidentiality agreement, it is a contract between two parties, where one shares the sensitive information, and the other party promises to keep it confidential. Uh, so it is a secret to be kept between two or more people, and for this confidential information is also, since it is often very sensitive, technical, it's commercial also, or maybe valuable. For example, let us say that there has to be a research that has to be taken for in terms of product, regarding the product. कोई भी product है तो आप for example, if you are developing some product and some research has to be done, but this has to be kept utterly secret till the product is made and launched into the market. In this case, the confidentiality has to be maintained by those people who are working in the research and development sector, or who are working in the labs. They may be the scientists, they may be the researchers, or they may be the engineers who are working on the product, but this has to be confidentially kept. Means it is not to be disclosed till it is finally produced and launched into the market, and therefore this is very sensitive. Another, it is also commercial, because maybe it is if the product is, secrets are let out before the completion of the product, then the competitors, there are chances that the competitors copy these product. Therefore it is very valuable in nature. Anything which is very valuable in nature, for example, maybe some trade secret, some proprietary information, etc. In this case, all the parties who are involved, in this case, as we said, maybe two parties are there, then both the parties, they sign a confidentiality agreement. Okay. Here, to create a binding contract to keep the information secret. Otherwise, and this is a legal provision. This is a legal provision. Once you have signed this confidentiality agreement or non-disclosure agreement, and then you get bound to not to disclose these secrets to anybody else outside the business. And if you do so, then you will be legally penalized for this. So similarly, if you suppose if you plan to obtain a funding for your firm, or enter into some contract with the suppliers, suppose, then you should consider the confidentiality and non-disclosure agreements in that case, um, in order to keep yourself protected. Therefore, because these outside firms, they will have access to business information that you may wish to keep confidential. Or when there is competition, the outside firms, they try to the curiosity is to know about what is going in your business and how you are operating and how you are, but you don't want things to be out. So here, because these outside firms, they have access to the business information that you may wish to keep confidential, you should consider having them sign these agreements. So once signed, they become legally bounded not to share it to anybody else. And if you are ordering, suppose if you are ordering 1,000 uh, Zigmos for your grand opening, and you don't want the suppliers calling your competitors to ask if they want 1,000 Zigmos so that they can deliver them on the same day. So the more sensitive the information in your business plan, it is more critical that these agreements they become. So this non-disclosure agreement protects you from your secrets being disclosed or being out into the market or to anybody that you do not want to go. Next is zoning. The last issue that we must understand is zoning. Zoning refers to what is zoning actually? Actually, zoning, it refers to municipal or local laws or regulation that governs how the real property can or cannot be used in certain geographic areas. For example, maybe the zoning laws, they can restrict the commercial or industrial use of some land in order to prevent maybe manufacturing or any commercial activities to be taking place in some residential area, the residential neighborhood. They don't want industries to be set up there. So here, if there is zoning, then that means that you have a limited or restricted capacity to start or establish yourself. So first you will have to find out and learn about that geographic area, that geographic region, that where you can start your business. So when you are selecting the location for your business, you will need to make sure that it is the property zone for the type of business that you are planning to operate, that you are planning to start. Because you will not be getting the permission to start your business in the area where it is not zoned for. If your product or your nature of business does not match that zone. So here you have to. It is not always okay to just assume that if your business is of the same type or as one of that is currently there. So we have to learn about the geographical declaration for certain nature of business, for certain specific use of that region. For example, you cannot go in the, where there is preservation of wildlife, you cannot go and install your unit there. Maybe any area which is declared for hospitals or zones that are declared for schools, you again cannot establish your factory there. And then there must be some, pollution free zones that are declared again. So you have to comply, you have to check out and meet the requirement. First of all, find out what zone your firm or your business belong to. So here zoning may be changing while the other businesses was operating, and that business might have been provided an exemption. For example, maybe some businesses have been established in some of the regions before they were declared to some other zones, declared as some other zones. But now you are coming after maybe suppose 20 years, and you want to have the same. You are saying that in that zone, all the similar businesses are already established, but you are not going to get the permission because maybe the rules with the passage of time have changed. But those who were established, they are not asked to get away from there, but newcomers will not be allowed. So you cannot. So you have to just do your homework on this ground, that what zones are already declared and what are not, where you can establish yourself. So here, maybe, example of zoning classification maybe include, we can say that some industrial areas which are defined, and those specific industries can be established there. Maybe light industrial areas, maybe commercial areas, light commercial areas, agricultural areas, single family residential areas, multi-unit residential and schools, etc., etc. So you cannot establish your firm or business anywhere you want. You have to check out the zoning in those specific geographical regions. So these are the 5 legal issues which are very important to be considered before you finally take the decision that where to establish, how to establish. And these factors are, or issues are, the name of the business structure, business licenses, non-disclosure agreement, and zoning. So this is all for this session. We will continue in the next, continuing on the same, that is the legal issues in entrepreneurship. Thank you.